Welcome to PSA. My name is Felix if you're new around here. And if you're back, thank you. So for the last couple weeks in our Bible study, we've been studying the book of Acts. And the book is titled Acts, rightfully so, because it focuses on the significant deeds and all the actions of the apostles and the early Christians, but focuses particularly on those of Peter and Paul. And honestly, it's been keeping me up at night. It's actually woke me up a couple times. It chronicles the history of the early church, emphasizing on the spread of the gospel and the establishment of Christianity after Jesus' ascension to heaven. If you're a believer, you may be familiar with this story. And if you're not a believer, you may be part of trying to grow some type of community. You may be an entrepreneur, just something that brings people together and that needs mutual sacrifice for a greater good. You should definitely check out this story. And there's just this moment that I want to highlight that's so beautiful. The verses are called the fellowship of believers. Starting in Acts 2, verse 42, they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship, to breaking of bread and to prayer. Everyone was filled with awe at the many wonders and signs performed by the apostles. All the believers were together and had everything in common. They sold their property and possessions to give to anyone who had need. Every day they continued to meet together in the temple courts. They broke bread in their homes and ate together with glad and sincere hearts, praising God and enjoying the favor of all people. And the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved. In the streets, we call this real recognizes real. Just because something grows, though, it doesn't mean that it's healthy. Growing refers to a natural development, an increase in size, while an infection, which is another kind of growth, also grows, but it's a condition where harmful microorganisms enter and multiply in the body, and they actually betray the body, causing illness. But these people here in the book of Acts were part of something so undeniably good for you. It was like a healthy infection. I can't think of another way to put it. And it just kept growing, and they kept giving all they had to it. Nowadays, if we look at different communities, we can still sparsely see remnants of what once was the church in the book of Acts. Our pastor highlighted how anyone can build a crowd, but what made the church was the power. If there's no power, there's no church. And what about this level of sacrifice for a cause? So it says they sold properties and possessions to give to anyone who was in need. It also says that they met in their homes and broke bread and gathered regularly. So obviously they didn't give everything away because they still had homes and they could meet and eat and study and worship God. What a beautiful community. What are you sacrificing for? No one here was elevated above anyone else, but they had different roles to play for it to succeed. In this context, it's referred to as the body of the church, because like a body, every part is important, but only the head, who in this case is Jesus, runs the body. The word church is the local gathering of believers. It's a translation from a Greek word ecclesia, which means assembly or called out ones. So if you ever feel awkward, you're a called out one. You're not supposed to fit in. God made you to simply stand out. All the believers were formed, unified under his leadership. Note, his leadership. Jesus' church, his leadership. The church is no one's if it's not Jesus's. Just because you gather a crowd doesn't mean you have a church. But now imagine if you hurt any part of your body, does the rest of your body not take notice? What if you treated your business or your organization or your community like it was part of your very own body? In the scriptures, it refers to the body as the flesh, the human body. So basically, the human condition is just stubborn and needs to learn, and sometimes we need to trick it to actually help itself. Sometimes it's healthy self-talk, it's meditating, it's reading the scriptures, it's prayer. I'm gonna take a risk here. The act of yoga. Yoga is actually choking areas of the body with constriction, so the body sends an emergency message to the brain that it needs healing cells in that area. Think about that. If your own body will betray itself, how much more would somebody else? Would you want only one part of your body healthy or the whole thing? Are we closing more doors than we might be opening? Might there be an infection amongst us? We need to be aware of this and become so close to our communities, to our businesses, to our endeavors, that we are so mutually submitted to one another and on mission that our movements are undeniably good, so there's no room for betrayal, no room for an infection. So much so that God would trust us and add to our numbers daily because our intentions are to honor Him. I was once part of a fundraiser where the goal was supposedly to buy this building. Long story short, the funds were not raised, but the funds that were raised were not returned either. In a last desperate effort to accomplish the goal, kicks in my strategic thinking, which it seemed like a sincere goal to buy this building for a church and not for a person's real estate portfolio, I suggested, why don't 100 of us start a new LLC, buy the building, and split the mortgage? They looked at me like I was crazy. And I was like, so it's only a community buys you a building or nothing at all? Just because you have a building doesn't mean you have a church. Let's not confuse the church with the building. The church is building, not a building. While this book is often called the Acts of the Apostles, it could also be seen as the Acts of the Holy Spirit, as the Holy Spirit plays a crucial role in empowering the early church and guiding it in its growth. And I believe that spirit is still around today. A building is a structure, but the church is a spirit. And my Bible says, I will build the church and the gates of hell will not stop it. Are you building a church or an altar to yourself? When are you going to stop building your church and start letting God build His? Are you included in the communal sacrifice that it talks about here, where they sold all this stuff to take care of each other? Have you moved into a more affordable neighborhood? Have you sold those luxury properties and homes or cars? And have you changed your spending habits? Your community is not your piggy bank. It's supposed to be your burden. Once the church is no longer part of your cross, it's no longer your community. Your church is not part of your business portfolio. It's God's blessing for His people. Is God constricting an area in your life to send some signals to your brain that things need to change? God will not be mocked. There's this one pastor in Atlanta, in one of the most churched areas that there is in the country. In fact, there may be more churches than there is grocery stores. I kid. Yet somehow he's so raw and driven that his congregation just keeps growing and growing. It's like a phenomenon. Their church has grown out of 2 locations. They got what they believed was their final location to house their community and to be able to accommodate everybody. And then all of a sudden they had to go to 4 gatherings, with the first one starting at like 6 a.m. They have over an hour wait online to get inside the building, and they still can't fit the thousands of people who want to attend. It's not hard to see when the Spirit of God is moving, when someone is giving it all they got. The church comes together to give and receive, not to take at one person's discretion. The revered evangelist John Wesley once said, "Light yourself on fire with passion, and people will come from miles to watch you burn." I really hope that this fire in Atlanta is the Holy Spirit and not just another flame that will burn out. It's so inspiring to think that God's Holy Spirit can still move today like it did in those first gatherings in the book of Acts. You know, it's been a really great season for our family. And we truly believe that it's God's favor on our lives. So we can't help but share that with you guys every week and potentially share something that we hope can also help you. So my wife and I really would like to thank you all sincerely. I know there's no shortage of places to gather, or videos to watch, or people with opinions, but this week we broke 100 subscribers. And although it may seem like nothing to a content creator, we do not take one of you for granted, and we wanted to celebrate with you all. I mean, when's the last time you had 100 people in your house? It's been almost 3 years of weekly messages, 150 videos of stories and scriptures and solutions that worked for us. And we've seen a lot of personal growth here, but more importantly, not just for us, but for others who have also reached out. We've even been able to help save some lives. So don't ever discount humble beginnings or where you might find yourself on your journey. You never know who could benefit from some sincere efforts. When we ask you to subscribe and share these messages, it's not because we need to be heard anymore. It's because God's goodness and His words deserve it. So please keep helping us continue to grow His community. And we thank you. We love you. And until next week, let's love more. And we'll see you at the next PSA. Thank you guys for 150 videos. We hope you found some help and some healing. If something's touched you, please share with the first person that comes to mind. The whole catalog's right here. And just know that transparency can be your secret weapon if when they see through you, they see Him. Thank you guys.